Okay, so we're finally going to get to this part of our cat that we imported from Blender, where we're going to do the jump animation that we had from inside of, Blender that we made, which we called it the pounce. And if I look at the pounce animation, right here, pounce, I look at all the frames of it. This is what it looked like. Press play. He kind of prones to get ready for jumps, comes down, and hits the ground. So I could say that this animation comes in parts. And how do I get different frames of the same animation out? What I have to do, since the FBX has the animation in it, see I clicked on FBX here, the cat. See, cat FBX. Then I could click these different buttons here when I'm clicking the cat FBX, and I want to see the animation properties of it. Here, list all the animation clips I have in there. So if I select the pounce animation, then I could see here is, the length of the animation is, what is it, 2.458 seconds, 24 frames a second. Anyway, so this here is going to tell me what frames the start and end are that I could set that animation to show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see what the first part of the animation looks like if right here, and I'm moving it, I just want to see the part where I get prone to jump. So from the standing position, the cat leans back and gets ready to jump, okay? So I'm going to say that's these frames right here, and I'm going to apply that, and then I'm going to extract the pounce animation with just those frames selected, Control D, and I'll call this jump 1 prone, or jump, I don't know, prone, I'll call it prone. Then I select FBX again, select the animation again. So prone went up to frame 24, so let's start off with the next frame, 25, to what will be my up, like going up in the animation until I reach the crescent of my animation and start to turn downward. I'll say it's 24 to 39, apply, and then I'll export that as my up, Control D, and I'll call it up. Okay, so here's my prone, here's my up. Next, it'll be the cat on the way down. So I select FBX again, I say pounce, and this would be frame 40 to what would be like on the way down until I get to this perfect down position, like right there, 50. Apply, and export that with a Control D. And this is on the way down. So I'm splitting my animation up into 4 pieces. And now the last part of my pounce animation is going to go from 51 to the end. 51 to the end, and just apply that. And then extract it out with a Control D, and this will be when I hit the ground, hit. So now I have 4 animations, each in their own part. So prone is getting ready, and it looks like this, just backing up on the hind legs. Up is when it's on the upward arc, and then down when it starts curving toward the downward arc, and then hit the ground would be landing on its feet. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the animation controller, and I'm going to add these new animations in here for my jump. It's a whole set of animations I'm going to add here for the jump. They are going to start from any state, like the way Shove did. So first, let's just put them in. The first one is going to be prone. Gotta get ready to jump first. And then I'll be going to the up part of it, then the down part of the jump. And then after that will be the hit part of the jump. So I'm just putting them in order here. Now I'm going to connect them up. So any state here, to here, to here, to here, to here. Okay? So on the prone, I'm going to need a trigger to tell me that to start playing the prone animation. And then I need a trigger to go for each one of these conditions of the jump. So I got prone. I'm going to add a trigger for up, and a trigger for down, and a trigger for hit. Okay, hit. So here on the prone, we check for the condition that the the prone trigger fired. And then after the prone starts, it's going to play, and it's going to wait until a time to jump up in the air. So I'm taking off the has exit times on these guys. So that'll be up, and then from up to down, no exit time, and that will be, it starts coming on at downward angles here, and then here to go to hit. That will be the hit trigger to finish off the whole jump sequence. So let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then after hit finishes, it goes to 5. Okay, so we got that whole sequence of animations there. Okay, we could test them out. Let's press play. Let me just move this down here so we have space. I'll press play, so we can see that it actually will go through the sequence. Let's just size these windows. This is the game window. Let me see it from the scene window here. So there's our cat. And if I say prone, then the rearing up on its back legs happens. And that happens kind of slow. So, man, how do I get out of this? Prone, then the up animation, then the down animation, and then hitting the ground. Alright. So the prone was kind of slow. Let me select prone and make it go faster. Maybe a 3. Okay, let's see how it looks with a 3. Prone, that's better. Up, down, and hit the ground. Okay, those look good. And the timing on prone, I just adjusted it to go a little bit faster. So that's a 3. And when I press stop, does a 3 stay there? It does. Thank you. Save. Now we want to actually control this from the script. So let's pick the cat, and let's go and look at the script for the cat. Right here, double click. Okay, now we're going to add the code. So I'm going to need a variable for how high I jump. So public float jump force. I'm using the rigid body to add force in the upward direction for jumping. So I'm going to have a jump force. And let's just start off by saying it's 8. And then Yeah. All right, let's start with that. Now, what is the key we're going to use to jump? Let's say here we're going to do the jump. Okay, so I'll put a comment. I'll say if, and put that get key down. I'm going to use a spacebar for jumping. So to get key down, not a get key, because I only want it to like happen as an event. Space, a one-time thing. True. If the spacebar is pressed, then we will play the animation for the jump. So set trigger. Well, we have to get prone first. I think that's what it's called, prone. Let's see, what did I say again? Because I have such a short memory. Prone, up, down, hit. Okay. So we'll play the prone animation, and then we will add force. rb.add relative force vector 3 up times jump force. And the force mode type is going to be velocity change. It doesn't pay attention to the mass. It just adds a force up. Bless you, Hamilton. So let's see, when we press jump, we're going to go and jump up in the air. Here we go. Let's see with this first trial what happens. I am a cat. I move. I hunt. And then I jump. Alright, so the first jump, as you can see, when I press the jump button, the jump action happened of pushing me up in the air, and the animation happened. They kind of were out of sync. First I should do the prone, and then I should do the jump. So I'll have to split up the code here. So I do want to do the prone first, but I don't want to do the jump here. I'm going to have to make a function here for when I actually want to do the jump part. So I'm just going to separate it out. Private void jump. Okay, and this will be where I'm going to add the force up, because I'm going to have to wait until the prone animation finishes, or yeah, finishes playing to actually do the jump. So the way I wait is I'll use an invoke call, and I'll call the jump after a certain amount of time. So what are we going to call that time? We'll just I'll say the jump time is going to be a variable, so we can play around with it and get it right. So jump force and public float jump time, and by default, let's say 1 second. Okay, and I just made it a lowercase t. Jump time, and then after 1 second, then it'll actually push me up in the air. Let's see that happen. So press play and jump. Okay, good. We probably don't have to have a whole second. Probably could have a little less time than a second. But you know what? That's why we made it a variable. Let's try half of that time, 0.5. Okay, half a second. Press play. It's a little better, okay? Now one thing, when I do the up, then I can play the up animation when I actually jump up in the air. So I'll say anim.set trigger up. Okay, now we got 2 parts of my jump animation that should be able to happen here. Press play. Prone and up. Hey, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to do something because I have a lot of triggers, and sometimes, it hasn't happened when I'm doing it with you, but maybe when you're running your code, you may see that sometimes triggers, when you have a lot of animation stuff, sometimes they kind of get stuck and they don't turn off. So there's a thing in the anim called reset trigger. There's a thing in the animator called reset trigger, you see right there. And then you can give it the name of the trigger to turn off to make sure the trigger's off, because sometimes they don't turn off by themselves. They're supposed to turn off at the end of the animation they trigger, but hey, you know, things happen. So what I'm going to do, first, let me make something easier, because, you know, I keep forgetting what the name of the triggers are, so I'm just going to make my little section up here. Helpers. And remember, a region is just a way to mark an area of code. What you type after the word region could be anything at all. It doesn't matter. It's just what shows when the region is concatenated, all right, when it's shrunk down. So I kind of type helpers because this is where I'm going to put some objects that help me out with the stuff I have to do in a class. So I'm going to put a private a noon trigger for my animation triggers. And I'm just going to take one more look here, see them on the side. Shove, prone, up, down, and hit. Those are my triggers. So shove is a trigger. Prone is a trigger. Up, down, and hit. Now I spelled these anoons just the same way I did the triggers, all lowercase, because I'm going to take advantage of that. So an anoon is a way to represent a number as a word. You see here, when I put my mouse over shove, it says that shove equals 0, prone equals 1, and they keep going down, incrementing by 1 for each one. Now say over here, I could set a value for them, instead like 7 for this one. So where there is no value, it just says 0, 1, and then all of a sudden instead of 3, since I said up equals 7, but then it continues from 7, 8, and 9. So this is how anoons work. I could give them numbers or not. The numbers don't really matter to me, so I just want the words. So the numbers could be, you know, the default numbers. Anyway, so here's the anoons, right? And now when I make this function here, every time I'm going to do a trigger, I'll have like a function that's going to reset all the triggers for me and then set that particular trigger that I'm asking to set. So here I will say private void set trigger of my own, and what it's going to take is the anoon trigger that I put in my helpers, okay? So inside, first I could do, for each trigger, I'll turn them and reset them. Reset the trigger for shove, anim.reset the trigger for prone, anim.reset trigger for up, and for down, and the last one is for hit. That's my last trigger I have in my animation thing. Reset trigger for hit. So now that just makes sure that all the triggers are off, none of them get stuck as on, and now I could say anim.set trigger, the trigger that the person actually is calling the set. So it will be the code, and the code's a number, but I could have it display as a string, the string that I said. So now what that happens is, like, if code equals, the word shove, prone, up, down, or hit, over here, set trigger takes a string, but I'm taking that number and converting it. I'm taking that word, that trigger word, and converting it into a string so I can set it for set trigger. Trust me. Just trust me, okay? Or if you want to, you can put a breakpoint here and see what happens. Alright, so now I have a set trigger function. So now everywhere that I was calling set trigger, I want to change it to call this set trigger. Matter of fact, let me name it different so it doesn't really get confusing. Anim set. No, anim trigger, maybe. Okay, that way it's not the same name as this anim set trigger. It's our function that we made called anim trigger that does this. So now I just have to look for all these guys. Alright, so I'm going to say edit find. Find in files in the current document. See, I can say how far I want to find. I just want to find in this current document. Set trigger. And I say find all, and then it gives me a list down here. Let me just pin the list to the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to click on the first one here. And the new command is going to be anim set trigger. Oh no, what did I call it? Anim. Bleh. Anim. Bleh. I gotta look at it. Anim trigger. Jeez, I have such bad memory. Anim trigger, and it takes a code shove. That's another benefit of using the enum is I don't have to remember the names, you see, because I can just pick it off the list. That's the first one. Here's the second one. Anim trigger. Anim trigger dot prone. So it shows it in the list. I can just pick it. And then here's another. This is the last one, I think. Anim trigger. Anim trigger dot up. There we go. So the reason I did this with this anim trigger that does the resets before it sets is because sometimes the animation, the state machine, the triggers don't actually turn off, and you can see they still stay on with a dot. So this gets around that. Okay, so what did I have? I was up to the, here you press the jump key, which is space, and then you can jump up, and then after a certain amount of time, which we made it like half a second, then it adds the force to push my character up in the air, and it plays the up animation. When do I play the down animation? Well, RB has a property called velocity, and velocity is another word for speed. Now I have velocity in all three directions in 3D space, X, Y, and Z. Y is the direction up and down. Okay, so when the velocity is less than 0, I'll say I'm going down. So what I'm going to do is, if the velocity is less than 0, I'm going to play the, what the heck? I'm going to play the down trigger for the down part of my jump. Alright, so let's see what happens if velocity is less than 0. To start playing the down thing. Alright, here we go. Because we know we got the prone and the up working. Now we gotta see if when the cat starts coming down, it plays the down. Prone, up, down. Ooh, it worked. See, here I am with the down. Now, up, down. Alright, now I just need the last one to get to this, when I touch the floor. So, when I touch the floor, that is an event from the model behavior. See how my script is derived off the model behavior. And there's an event for the collision, private, void, on, and I can see all the different events that I could, on collision, enter, there we go. So this collision object is whatever I collided with, but it doesn't really matter right now in the game. I'm colliding with anything, I just want the jump to end. So I will say if, well, there's no if, like I just said. I want the jump to end, so I just touch the floor. So I want anim, trigger, hitting the floor. I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder what's going to happen, folks. Let's see. I should play the whole animation cycle, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to press play, keep your eyes on the cat and the animations that are playing and when they play. I'm walking, and then also keep your eyes over here. Oh, you see, somehow down just fired off, but, you know, since I'm not here, the down event won't happen. But it did fire off, and that shouldn't have happened yet. Let's see what happens, though, when I actually jump. I jump up, and down. Things worked out still. But somehow, down is, and I saw a hit, and down, these are firing off, even though I didn't do a jump. So there is some inaccuracy here, which at this point in my game is not really bothering anything, but it could, when the game gets more complicated, be an unexpected behavior. So I want to kind of get rid of that. Let me hide this window down, and let's see how we could do that. There's another problem. Let me just press play again. I want to show you. Now, I remember I was doing this in a game camp, and the kids were like, oh, no, we like it. I press jump again, and I'm just jumping. It's like double and triple jumps. Now, if you want that, fine. If you don't want that, how do you stop that? The way you stop it, the way I'm going to stop it, there's always a bunch of ways you can do anything, is I'm going to test for a flag, is jump. So I can only jump if I'm not jumping, all right? So is jump right now, it's not defined. Let me go define it. Over here is a variable. Private void is jump. Not void, private bool, sorry, it's a variable. Is jump. Will start off by equaling false. I didn't jump yet. And then down here, when I press the jump key, I can only do it when it's false. When I press the jump key, is jump will equal true, meaning I'm in the jump mode. So that means when I am out of the jump mode, I have to turn it back to false so I can jump again. So when am I out of the jump mode? I'm out of the jump mode when I hit the floor. So over here, I'll say if is jump. Bleh. Well, every time I hit anything, I'm not jumping anymore. So I will just say is jump equals false. Okay. Let me put this command after the anim trigger. And then over here, this fire trigger is only going to happen if is jump equals true. Then I'll do the hit animation. Maybe I want this. Cut. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. And then only if his jump is true do I have to say is false. Oh, brother. Okay. So that it doesn't keep doing the hit animation. Now, the other animation that kept happening was this anim trigger down. Let's see if we get rid of the hit happening, since I did the code for the hit with this. So I'm going to press play. And I'm walking, and keep your eyes over here and see if hit ever kind of flags off. Nope, I'm walking and I'm not getting the hit, but I'm getting the down. I'm getting the down a lot. So somehow, even though I'm not going downward, I'm getting the RB velocity less than 0. What is my RB velocity actually coming out to be? I made a function in my globals to display something on the screen for me. You see over here, when you look at the game view, you see this purple text? I made this little UI control that doesn't show in the gameplays, but it's there. And then in my globals class, I made a function that calls it and, makes it visible and displays text in it. I'll just start writing the code and then I'll show you how that works. So here, in the update function, I just want to see what my RB velocity is all the time. As a matter of fact, I want to see what my smallest RB velocity is. So here I'm just going to make a private float smallest, and I'll have it equal a big number to start off with. And then over here, if smallest is greater than RB dot velocity dot y, then smallest will equal that. And then I'll just print it out on the screen to show on the screen. So in my globals class, I made a function. What do I call it? Text. I call it set text. Set text debug. There it is. And what I'll show is the smallest number. I'll just convert it to a string to show. Alright, so in my globals I made this set text debug, and I'll show you how it works here. I'll go to it. So set text debug, first it calls enable the debug text, and I pass a true, which means it's going to show it on the screen. And then over here, if I have a text debug pointer that I set in my globals here, the text debug, then I'm going to actually change the message, the string it shows to this, the message. Enable debug text, what it goes and does is, go to definition, it's right here. It sees if I set my text debug yet, and if I didn't, then I go ahead and I set it. I look for the object with the tag text debug, which that's what I did in the objects here in the canvas. You see it text debug. I tagged it as a text debug. It's the only one. Now text debug's not null, and I enable it to on, which makes it show or hide based on what on equals. Okay, that's just a quick overview of that. Alright, so let's see what the smallest value of my velocity y is. Let's press play, because for some reason the velocity y must be getting smaller than 0. Well, right off the back, I just started the game and my velocity y is minus 0.3. When we start walking around, yeah, it's changing, it's moving. I guess it's because when I did the walk animation, the animation's happening, my colliders are on the feet, so there may be a little bit of rigid body, falling to the ground when the animation happens, and that may be where I'm getting a negative a little bit. So I guess the thing to do here is, when I'm checking for the velocity to be less than 0, maybe I could also check that isJump is true to keep that from firing off. And then I just typed this was just for me debugging, I'm taking it out now. And the smallest variable I don't need, I'm going to take that out, okay? So maybe adding this isJump is going to help me to not have that trigger go off for the down. Let's see what happens. So I press play. And we're going to have to look at the animator. We're going to have to look at these things here to see if anything fires off these two triggers that were firing off. So I start, click in the game window. I start moving around, and that's good. I'm not seeing the down trigger fire off. Now let's just make sure it fires off when it's supposed to, like when I jump. With this new code that I added, let's make sure I can still jump. Press jump, and yeah, now that's a good jump. I got problems now. So I got rid of that, which wasn't giving me a problem, and then I put something in that has a problem. So now it's going to matter how lazy I am, and do I want to be stuck with this all day? So here, isJump is false, isJump is true. So sometimes I never even played the prone animation. That would mean that for some reason this wasn't hitting every time I pressed jump. So I know it detects I press the spacebar. Maybe jump equals false wasn't there. And maybe it's because of this I put an if on there. Let's just put this back. Matter of fact, let's just put this out of the if statement. It doesn't matter if I'm jumping or not. It's just going to be you hit something, then go ahead and do this. Because this animation is not going to play unless the other ones were there on before it. So I'm going to leave this one like this. And let's see if that fixes up my jump thing. And this is the way it is when you program, You try stuff, something happens, you take it out, and I still don't have my... Okay, on the second time I have it, things are really messed up. You know what? I'll wait until the day it's a problem. I'm putting everything the way it was before. I still want to have one jump, so... let's do that. Putting stuff back to the way it was little by little, until everything's working again. Jump. What the heck? Jump. It happened there. Oh, things are just firing off like crazy. Whew. So when did things start going wrong? When I tried to make it that you can only jump once. What the heck? Let the kids have their fun. Let them jump as many times as they want to. Let's take that all out with the isJump variable. Bam. And the isJump variable. Bam. Okay, let's just take that all out. I think that's the way I had it before I started. There's probably a good reason to do saves as you're doing things so you could go back to a state that was working. I didn't do that in the video, but let's see what happens now. I can move. Oh, jeez, man. That was a jump like I liked. Look at that. He's walking. I'm not even seeing the prone thing fire off. It's not even about the isJump. Alright. Let's see if I have any errors that mean anything that were firing off here. No, that's because the can doesn't have a player to follow. Dude. Alright. So, how do I debug this? Something that appeared to be working now is not working. Let's be smart. Private bool is jump equals false. I don't think it was this, so I'm going to put that in there. And only jump one time. And is jump equals false. Then I could jump, and when I jump, I'm going to do these things, and then I'll say that's if. Is jump equals true, so I don't hit it off twice. Wait a minute, that's a double equal. That only happens inside the if. I'm not inside the if, so how do you fix that double equal? It's supposed to be an assignment, so you say equal, not a comparison. And then I'm only going to check about the velocity. It only makes sense to check it if I'm jumping. So if is jump equals true, that's the comparison. And that. Then I can play the down. And then over here, leave that, but I got to make sure I set the is jump. Oh, that's the thing. Is jump equal to false again. Okay, now whatever's going on, how do we fix it? We may have to use some debug statements, but let me just see if it's, let me see what's going on. I have to play it one more time. So, you know, coding is like, what did they say? I didn't do the down. I gotta look at this so I can see what's going on. It's stuck in the hit right now. I didn't play a hit. It's still stuck in the up. Up. From the up, it never played the down. How many times did I press jump? One? Okay, I can still press it once, but boy, it's very unpredictable. Well, for now this is working, and it's been a lot of work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I know you guys are probably like, well, fix it. But right now, I am not sure how to fix it. So on the next video when I start it, I'll show you if I have any solutions. Nah, that's a cop-out. I gotta fix it. Let's see. I can't give up on this video yet. Let's see. I'm just gonna press pause so I can think. So here's the magic pause button. Alright, what I'm gonna use to help me figure this out are debug logs. So on each one of these events, I'm gonna have a debug log printout. The debug logs print out here into the console window in Unity. So here when I press the spacebar, I'll say prone, that's a prone animation. Then when the velocity's coming down and jump is true, I'll say down. So that's when that plays. When I hit something, I didn't say anything, but let's say it. Debug.log hit, that's when the hit animation is going to happen. And then here, I press the spacebar, then it's doing an invoke after the amount of jump time to do the up. Alright, so let's see the order that these events are happening in. So, let's just clear this out and press play. So here I am, let me do my first jump. And something weird happened here because I have prone, down, and hit, and then up. That's out of order. And then there's also a count here. The down happened 14 times. So 1, 14, 1, and 1. Since down is happening at the wrong time, that's a hint about something that's wrong here. So, why is down hitting a bunch of times? Prone happened first, but then down happened. So, I know I want things to fire in order. Is there something I could do to help me keep track of them firing in the correct order? Maybe there is. Maybe I could use these enums, like prone, up, down, hit. Maybe I could use them to keep track of a trigger state of some type. So, private, enum, trigger. Where'd it go? There it is. Enum, trigger, what should I call it? Trig? Equals something. So if I didn't press any of these, I'm going to have another case over here, like not defined. So that way here, I could set that this equals, trigger dot not defined, because I didn't define one yet. Therefore, over here, I have these debug logs, right? So that means that if we get this jump is true, then in here, I could set that, what did I call it, trig? I don't even remember, I swear. My memory is the worst. I called it trig. I'll call it trig code, okay? So, what am I here? The trig code is going to equal prone. Okay, so that way when it's prone, that means I could only do the down animation if trig code equals trigger dot prone. Okay, it's only going to come after a prone. And then once it comes from the prone, then it's going to be trig code equals trigger dot down. Actually, wait a minute. Just because this is actually the down animation, so this comes after the up. I have to have the up. Then I could go down. And here, I don't have to have anything that just fires off. Here, I have to have the up, and then I could go down. Here, I have to have the down, and then I could do the hit. Right, so if trig code equals down, then I could have a hit, right? And then, let's see, the up, right? Here I press prone, and then it's supposed to do the jump after jump time. So here on the up, the trig code equals up. I should have left those debugs there. Let me put them back in. Need debug up, debug down, debug hit. And here, debug jump, debug up, debug.log. This is the up animation. This is the hit when I hit the ground. This is the down. This is the down animation. So this is the prone. Sorry. Yeah. So this I press space. I go to prone, and then I wait for the jump. Then I do the jump, and that's up. Then after the jump happens, I'm checking to see when I get down to the ground, and then that's down, and then hit. Oh boy. Make sure everything's straight. They're gonna tell me the wrong information. Okay. Let's see what happens now. I press play, And here I am, a cat moving around. I press jump, prone, up, down, hit. Okay, that worked. Let's do it again. Prone, up, down, hit. And then hit keeps on happening 16 times there. Let's fix that. So hit keeps happening because I don't set the trig code to anything after I hit. I'll set the trig code off. So trig code equals, and then trig code dot not defined. There we go. Now let's see. I think everything's working, so I didn't give up, and I fixed the bug in this video. Fixed it live, coming at you live. Press play, jump. Good. How's it to jump on a can? Let's try to jump on this can. Up. Boom. Hey, it could happen. Alright, thank goodness. I think that this video, for the jumping, see, it was complicated. The jumping was complicated. It was taking a lot of time. This video is done. So, this is adding the cat in from Blender. This is the third video. What comes in the next video for this cat game? I don't know. Maybe just the game itself. Alright, bye. Have a good time.